What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel where today I have a 1975 Triumph TR6. And today I want to walk you around this thing and show you why I think this is probably the best car that you can get if you're a first-time collector. And then we're going to get out on the road and drive it and show you some of the performance and all that good stuff. So let's take a look. So first let's talk about price point, because where does this car actually fall? In 2016, when the owner first bought this car, he bought it for like $15,000 or $16,000. It's not very much money. And in this condition, I mean, this is like pristine condition. Nowadays in the market, these cars go for right around high 20s, low 30s, with the really nice ones like this for going right around $40,000. So these cars aren't really at their peak yet as far as value goes. They're getting there and they're becoming more and more rare. And I think as we see more and more electric cars flood the market, simple cars like this are going to go up in value. So definitely get it while you still can. All right, so as far as style goes, it doesn't have a lot to it. And I'm going to try and go over all the features that I can, but there's just not a lot here. I mean, this car is so simple, it's just beautiful. It's really kind of a purist car. It doesn't have any kind of electronic assistance or anything like that. It's all analog. So you have a naturally aspirated straight six in the front, a 4-speed manual in the middle, and drive goes to the back. It's the classic British roadster setup, and it is awesome because of that. So this one is finished in a single stage British racing green, and the single stage basically means that there's just no clear coat on the top. If you take a look at the paint, it's very simple, and single stage kind of has a little bit of a different shine to it. And a really good idea if you're going to get a car with single stage paint is to get it ceramic coated, which the owner of this car has had it ceramic coated. Basically what that does is it makes it so you don't have to wax it, because the more that you wax this car, the more color you're taking off. So on the American Triumph TR6, one of the things that you're going to notice is the bumpers. And because, you know, for American regulations, for whatever reason, they require that you have those bumpers on there, but that's kind of an American spec thing. As far as wheel and tire setup, you have steel wheels with the little beauty ring right here. This one's running a little bit newer tire setup. Obviously, it's not the original tires on this. These are the Pirelli P4000s. They're a great tire setup for this car, and they also kind of keep that original styling as well. So yeah, very simple wheel and tire setup, very small, not very expensive, so that's pretty awesome. Moving towards the back of the car, you can see you have this Triumph TR6 decal right here. And that's something that, you know, obviously it's unmistakably British whenever you see that, but it's kind of a cool little symbol right there. It adds a little bit of British flair to the car, if you will. Something that you'll see on a lot of cars from this era is the gas cap that's right over here over the middle, and the luggage rack. I know the Corvette had that, some more American cars had that as well. But yeah, that's something that's typical to see on a car from 1975. It's just a nice little feature. This one is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's got a wooden steering wheel, it's finished in British racing green, and it's a small British roadster. I don't think it gets much better than that. Let's move to the interior and see what we got in there. And the first thing that you notice whenever you open the door is that there's nothing on the inside of the door. You have a door handle, and then you have a window roller. There's nothing electronic to worry about right here, which is awesome. Again, the simpler the better as far as like collector cars go. Let's sit on inside and see what we got. I always start with the steering wheel, and I love this steering wheel. Now this one isn't like the original steering wheel for this car, but it fits the car very nicely. It's a nice finishing piece. It's definitely something nice to look at whenever you sit on the inside. But when you take a look at the dash, this is all real wood grain, and you can kind of hear that as I tap on it. All the gauges right here are analog. Again, it's just so simple in here. I'm sure these are the kind of gauges that bounce around as you're driving down the road. Like that little fuel gauge will probably start going like this as we start going. Looking at the transmission tunnel, there's, again, not too much here. I love this shift knob because it has the little TR6 logo with the British flag in the middle. It's made out of wood too. And if I go through the gears just really quick, you can feel that clunk, and it's just so crisp. I mean, everything on this, it's not like a short throw shifter by any means, but on this one, it just feels really nice in your hand. A modern appointment to this one that the owner has added is this radio. It kind of looks like a stock radio, but this one has a few modern conveniences. So you can plug in an auxiliary cord if you want to listen to your music, and if you don't want to listen to the radio. This one doesn't have like an AC. This one has like that fan that kind of blows outside air on you. It doesn't have like an AC compressor. So it's again, it's just so simple. And as a collector, that's really what you want, because you don't want to have to be replacing a bunch of stuff. On this car, there's not too much to worry about, and that's what makes it so awesome as a first-time collector car. Yeah, I mean, I love it. This is all about the drive, and you can tell that that's all that you're worried about whenever you're driving this thing. All right, so let's take a look and see what we have under the hood. So I already popped it through there, and you have a little latch right here. Once again, this is incredibly simple under here. This is a 2.5 liter straight six engine that produces only about 104 horsepower, which on the British version, I think it's like 20 or 30 horsepower more. So they kind of gave us the short end of the stick. But I think it's only a carb adjustment. If you put a different set of carbs on here, then you can get a little bit more power, which this one has. If you're worried about horsepower though, you're gonna miss the point of this car entirely, because this one is all about the suspension setup and the handling. That's where this car really shines. This car has an X-frame chassis, which is kind of revolutionary technology for the time, which makes it a little bit more stiff, a little bit more rigid going around corners. But it also has independent rear suspension, which for 1975 was pretty big stuff. This is not incredibly complicated, and that's kind of ideal as a collector's car because there's not a lot that can go wrong under here. Again, we don't have AC components. We don't have a lot of electronic stuff to worry about. Even just taking a look at the radiator, you'll realize that there's no fan shroud on this thing. I mean, it's also tiny. This thing is like a quarter the size of a regular radiator. So there's not too much to worry about. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this car out on the road and on a test drive. Let's see how it goes. All right, what's all this then? I've been looking forward to driving this car for quite a long time now because the last time I came to drive this car, it was raining and it was a very British day indeed, and it didn't happen. The filming went horribly and we had to throw everything out. So this time I get to drive it and we get to see how it goes. So let's check it out. Listen, I am having to push this car to its limit just to keep up with cars that are accelerating at a normal rate of speed. So no, it's not fast. It's not really that quick. It's not something that's going to be ridiculously fun to drive as far as like horsepower and speed, but if you're looking for horsepower and speed, you're probably not buying this car. So you're not the target audience. Get over it. It broke traction. It broke traction. Triumph itself described this car as the last of the hairy-chested roadsters. And I don't know if I'm growing any hair on my chest, but it's definitely a roadster. It's definitely a lot of fun, and you feel like you're doing something when you're driving this car. You're definitely shifting gears, having a good time, and man, on a back road like this is what this car was made for. The chassis is incredibly tight. I can feel the road through the pedals. I can feel the RPMs, I can feel how fast I'm going. I don't even have to look at the gauge, which is good because the gauge isn't exactly accurate anyways, but no distractions, just drive. When you get that straight six up into the higher RPM range, I don't want to push this too hard, but it absolutely sings. Honestly, the little thing back here is flapping around a little bit. I don't know if I have it all the way strapped down. That's on me. Don't take it out on the car. The car did nothing wrong. I really wish you could see how much this speedometer is bouncing up and down. Round a banked turn. Oh yes, loads of grip. It handles the road so well. Steering wheel is just a tiny bit shaky, but it's not like it's crazy or anything like that. This thing is amazing to drive. I absolutely love it. It's so simple. It's understated. It's a humble experience owning this. You're not going to be the fastest person on the block. You're not going to have the fastest car. You're not going to be the coolest, but you will be incredibly timeless because that's what this design is. This is a timeless British roadster. Incredible experience. I feel so, I don't know, at peace, I guess. I've fallen in love with this car. It's such a great experience. I mean, you're not taking yourself too seriously in this thing. You're not gonna win any races. I don't have to drive this car like I'm Vin Diesel. You wanna see my family? I just get to enjoy it. And that's special. I know why people want this now. It's because it's simple, it's fun, and it's just a joy to drive. So So guys, that's it for the Triumph TR6. If you're looking for your first collector's car, or you already have some collector's cars, definitely check this thing out because it's fun, it's affordable, it's not super powerful, it's not gonna win any races, but it's definitely a lot of fun to drive. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about this video. We'll see you next time.